You hear the music, ladies and gentlemen. You know what time it is. All right. We want to welcome you guys to episode number 5, Just Shoot Me with Kristin and Shay. And I am Shay, a.k.a. Shay Shooter.
I'm Kristin.
Maybe I'll learn my name at some point, too. I don't know what I just called myself, but let's get right into this. Studio audience we have here, guys. Yeah. Gotta love it.
We're 5 episodes in. You think we'd get this together?
Yeah, we're still, it's a work in progress. It's like life. It's always a work in progress.
If you're watching us on YouTube, you will notice a huge change.
Yes, we are in a brand new studio today, so that's super cool.
I was talking about you not wearing a hat.
Oh yeah, that too. I'm clean shaven, so I thought, I'd show off the shine.
Do you shave your head at all, or by this point is it just all gone? No, it was a genuine question. I really want to know.
You may not say anything funnier today than that.
Inquiring minds want to know.
So I have a little bit of hair in some places.
Your head, right?
On my head,
okay,
yes.
yeah.
On my head, I have patches of hair. No, it's not that bad. My hair grows on the sides, but just in the top, right here in the middle,
okay,
it just doesn't grow. Kind of like George Jefferson, if you know who that is.
I'm not that young.
Okay, so yeah, so like that. So I look like Bozo the Clown if I don't shave.
Yeah.
So I have a little afro on the side and then nothing in the middle there. So
can you please let that grow before the next wedding season? Please?
No,
it's
not going to happen.
You're
not going to happen.
Well, cheers, friend. It's been a hot minute.
Yes.
We have been finishing up. Oh, I guess we have to drink after cheers.
Yeah, we've been wrapping up wedding season.
It's been blessed and busy.
Yeah.
I just finished my 30th spring wedding, so that was good.
Yeah, 30. I did 28. I haven't even counted how many I did.
I was gonna say, you just pulled that number out of your ass.
I know I did less than you, so I just said 28.
Yeah, but you shot with me a lot, so you've been busy. You've been busy, boy.
Super busy.
Yeah.
And the DJing and all that stuff. So
you're constantly out.
It's been super, super busy, but in a good way for sure. But yeah, it was a good wedding season. So, it's always that bittersweet part of the year for the wedding season.
Oh, yeah.
We obviously love our jobs, but then we love to not work sometimes too.
We do, but it's kind of that point in the year where we are bored in a way.
Yeah.
Just trying to find things to do, shooting wise. But a big thing, though, that we've been working on, actually, if you're in the Tucson community and actually kind of all through Arizona, you may know now, a local photographer, Madison, was in a horrific motorcycle accident, I think going on a month ago now. And she's okay now. Well, I mean, as okay can be now. She did survive, luckily. But she has had, I think, upward of 20 surgeries and procedures. And she's in, I think, in a rehabilitation center right now, like kind of learning how to walk and
moving in the right direction.
Moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
And all that. And so the community has really come together for her, which has been fabulous. We've all kind of stopped in a way and reevaluated our own directions to help kind of fund her progress and everything and help her. And I'm amazed at the community all coming together to do things for her. Chris Berry put on a model call and photographer meeting.
Like barbecue
thing, the
pool party, and so
it was a fundraiser.
Great job with that, Chris.
Yeah, great job, Chris. And I heard it was wonderful. We both had shoots that day and couldn't go, and they raised a bunch of money for her. And then we have our minis for Maddie coming up.
Minis for Maddie.
That's going to be next Sunday, I think it is.
Yeah, the 25th.
25th, yeah. And you're shooting, and
I'm shooting.
I'm one of the organizers there, and then we have 2 other photographers who are organizing them in 2 different cities as well, one in Sedona and one in Phoenix. And all of the money that we have raised, it's a $75 minimum donation, is going right to her through a GoFundMe. So thank you guys, everybody who have come together for her. I know she is absolutely so appreciative. Her aunt, who has been helping us, with communication and organizing and all this, she's so appreciative. I'm just impressed that everybody has come together in this busy season.
Photography the photographer community definitely came together, but also
Yes.
a thank you to you for organizing a lot of the stuff and also stepping in and just, doing some of the little things that needed to be done to help her out as far as engagement shoots, wedding shoots coming up and
Tori
stuff like that.
and,
So
I had Tori and Stephanie, two other wedding photographers. Tori's part of our team. They have come together with me on this, and Tori's kind of been our ringleader here, helping us with this. And I mean, could not do this.
shout out to
without
Tori.
them.
Great
Yeah.
job on the website, getting the minis for Maddie
yes.
up good. That website flowed really good, and
Yes.
it booked up pretty quick too. So
It was very easy to navigate, and people booked that up so fast,
Yeah.
especially in Tucson. That was insane. I mean, before I knew
I'm gonna
it.
let everyone in on a little secret. Like I was so worried that I wasn't gonna book up, and I was gonna be the last one to book. I know it's not. That's what it's not about, and I know what it's about, and that's why I signed up. But I still didn't want to be last to
You
get
were
booked
the
up.
second booked, I
Yeah.
think. And I mean,
I wasn't the first though, but I looked at Destiny's stuff.
Oh my
God!
is she
I'm
not
like, yeah, she
insane?
deserves to be first.
Oh,
she deserves
for
to be
sure.
first. She's awesome.
And it's crazy. Destiny actually just, she had a medical scare as well. She just had a gallbladder taken out, emergency gallbladder surgery. And I know what that feels like. And I am so glad she's on the mend as well. And she'll be there doing these as well. So
Yeah.
y'all need to stop being hurt and sick right now, please, even in the off season. Okay.
Well, if you're gonna be sick and hurt, be it in off season.
But can
so
we
you
get
can-
through these minis, please?
Yeah, we're gonna get through them. It's gonna be fun. I'm looking forward to it. And then, for everybody who's listening to this, who participated in the minis or just helping out, thank you so much.
Yes.
I know I looked at my mini schedule, and there's a couple of friends. So thank you guys so
Yes.
much for stepping up and definitely contributing to the minis. We appreciate it so much. And
I really appreciate a lot of my clients too, who
Yeah.
know that I'm not shooting that day, but just organizing, jumping in with all of our wonderful photographers, and they really just did not care who they were booking with. They just wanted to help Maddie, and I appreciate
And
that
that's
so
what it's
much.
all about.
That's what it's all about. And I think we even have a couple traveling up to Phoenix that day who I've worked with plenty of times just to help her out. So thank you guys for the donations. The entire community stepping up, even when they didn't really know her. It's funny because right before this happened, she was supposed to shoot with me for the first time, actually, a week before her incident. And, it's just the right thing to do. So I'm so happy with our community. So thank you guys.
So our studio audience is so thankful. They love you guys just as much as we do.
We technically have an audience because this wonderful studio that we're in now, we have an office right across the way. I'm actually watching her work right now.
Yeah.
She has these beautiful pictures of a painting of what must be her 3 dogs. I'm very jealous of, and I might actually have to ask her where she got it done. They're very regal. But we digress.
We digress,
We have a lot to talk about today. We have, we're wrapping up wedding season. We want to talk about what it is that we do in our off season, because there is a ton to do in the, 2 months that we have that's considered off season in Arizona. And we want to talk about CPAs and why they're important for business owners, especially photographers, how it relates to you guys. And then the big one, AI.
AI.
And we
It's
had
coming.
one more thing, too, we wanted to talk about. What was it?
What was the other thing? We'll figure it out.
We talked about this at lunch.
I know. Lunch was good, though.
Lunch was really good.
Yeah, we'll definitely figure it out. I know there's something else we're going to talk about.
It was a big one.
It was.
It was a really big one.
But we'll get to it. We'll
will.
get to it. We're not going to.
We're really bad at this.
So, we, like you said, we're going to jump into the CPA stuff and some of the off-season stuff. And so now that the weddings are wrapping up, we still have a couple more, but, for the most part, weddings are wrapping up. Vacations are getting planned. I know on my side, I'm ready to go and see the grandbaby and see my daughter. And so I'm excited about that. So going to Florida, going to Fort Lauderdale, going to Daytona, see my mom. And it's such a be a fun trip. We're doing a lot of stuff. So I'm excited for that, but also excited to plan for next season, start to get everything, get the calls in, get the timelines and music meetings and all those things that come along with off season and preparing for the next season, and getting books in order. So good times.
The books are big.
Books are big.
The books are big. Books.
That too. The books are big.
Words are hard today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's when you have a big lunch and then you got alcohol. It's
We
like
did. We had no alcohol at lunch. We were good.
No, we didn't have any alcohol at lunch, but we have it now. So there may be a little bit of slurring, but we're going to try to stay on topic as much as we can.
I don't think we ever really do.
Yeah,
that's okay.
It's very free flowing.
Yeah, it is. It is.
So, CPA stuff. So you've had some.
So yeah, I've actually had I had an issue this year with CPA stuff, and it was kind of disheartening at first, but in the end, it turned out to be the best thing that could have happened. So
hashtag life license.
Hashtag YOLO. So we had a CPA that we've been working with for years. And, I used him even before my husband and I met and got married and everything. And it's kind of one of those things like, when you go to the same doctor for years.
Yeah.
And even if you just kind of have a feeling like there's somebody better out there, but you've just been using them for so long, you just don't change. It's kind of how I was getting a feeling with the CPA. And it's kind of disheartening because I had been referring him to people. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of a slap in the face that things just weren't working out anymore. We just kind of had a feeling he wasn't doing the best for us when it came to our books, our investments, things like that. And then, an incident happened where it just was very inappropriate on his end, and my husband and I kind of made the decision that we were going to let him go. When you make a big decision like that, you always want to have a B plan, though. And luckily, Cameron, our videographer, came through with his B plan, and his B plan Cameron is a CPA named Scott, and he is phenomenal. And I had heard wonderful things about him through Cameron, and then a couple of our other team members actually use him as well. And so I said, let's give him a call. We'll meet up with him, see if he's a good fit for us. And he came to our house, actually, on his day off, a Sunday morning. He could have been spending with his family. And he looked over our books. He had a discussion with me and my husband. He's former military as well. So, we had that thing going. And he was looking over our 2022 taxes, which at that point we had just filed with our old guy because we were already, about to hit that deadline. And he's like, I see some discrepancies here. Then I think I can get you guys some money back. And at this point, I paid $40,000, almost $40,000 in taxes for just my business alone.
Really? I had no idea.
I talked about this.
I know you talked about it
for weeks afterwards because I was livid. Being a small business owner, and I mean, I'll toot my horn here, but a successful small business owner, it's expensive. You've got a lot to do, and a lot of things, especially when in an industry like this, there's overhead, but there's not a lot of overhead.
Did you tell Brandon that you had to pay so much because you didn't buy enough stuff?
No, I bought a lot of stuff.
Enough stuff, though. A lot of stuff is good, but enough stuff.
I will go back and tell you the number of.
No, you don't have to.
It was a lot, and it was stuff I didn't even need, But it was just like, I can write that off, maybe it'll bring my taxes down. But you're still spending money, right?
Yeah, like
stuff. Right, like stuff.
Yeah.
And so he's looking through that. He's like, there's some things that he missed, and I can get you some money back on this. And we're like, sweet. He's like, I'll call the IRS even, tomorrow. I'm like, okay, cool. He goes, your S corp can also be backdated. Like they passed an act or whatever that was, you can backdate it by like 2 years or something like that. And I'm like, oh, sweet. Like he's like, I'm going to try this for you. He goes, I'm going to try it a way though that I have not tried before, and we're going to see if it works. I'm like, okay, cool. So he did, and it worked.
Nice.
And I'm like, this is probably going to cost us like a couple grand or whatever, but if he can get me money back, it's going to be worth it. It only cost me $700 to do this, for him to do all of this work for me. I'm getting back almost $19,000. Like, boom. Just boom. And at that point, my husband and I are like, well, we're definitely going to keep him, within our family here. He's our CPI. Like, we love him. And he's just very relatable, nice guy.
We're going to invite him to dinner once a week.
We should. And he's just very communicative. He's not pushy. He's just, very informative with everything. And he just keeps us on track. He makes sure that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and helps me along the way to make sure that my business is flowing as it should. And not only that, but he took the time to really help me with like our investments as well, and just make sure that we're not only investing the money that we should for like our family in the future, but like also for my business.
Nice.
So
that's good.
Yeah, and he gave us options too. He didn't just say, this is what you should do, because I would do it. He gave us options, which is what my husband likes to hear. He does, Brandon, he does not like to be told what to do. Yeah. He wants options. So my biggest piece of advice as a small business owner, of course, is get a CPA, somebody that's going to help you, with your money, because, you can be good with money. You can be bad with money. You need somebody that's going to help you be good with that money. You can think you're good with
and
money.
Teach you.
That's the thing too, is
That's
you need to be taught. With him, I said, you need to explain things to me like I'm 5. Because, I firmly believe, like, when you're in school, you need to be taught taxes, finances, those kind of things. And, you take economics in high school, but don't get taught that. You don't get taught how to file a checkbook. You don't get taught.
You know what I remember from economics? I remember, like, we did, like, a fake stock market, and I just put all my money in Johnson & Johnson, and I, like, won the class. Yeah. I don't play the stock market now.
Back in the day, that was, like, the thing.
Yeah, they own everything. They own so many things.
But I will tell you this. Our CPA did say, you guys are in a great position financially, especially for people your age and situation. Enjoy it. So he said, enjoy your money, because we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. This is what a good CPA does. He helps you put your money where it should be. I guess CPA financial advisor, because that's what he does. So get one, because he's going to tell you if you're doing what you should be doing or if you're not. As a small business owner, it is important to have somebody there to help guide you, not necessarily tell you what to do, but to guide you. He also reminded me too that quarterlies were due. Yesterday.
I saw that Facebook message.
Because, in my mind, quarterlies are, January through March, then April through June. So you would pay them in July, right?
No.
Right. Yeah. Because you have to figure out what you're making through June.
Yes.
Right. So you'd pay it in July. Yeah. That's not how the IRS sees it. So.
That's why I said no, but
okay.
I see what you're saying.
So, he keeps me on top of my stuff, which is great. So, I strongly suggest getting one. If you guys are in Tucson and would like his information, I'd be more than happy to send it to you. Just send me a message.
Yep. Shoot us a message. Give us a like. That's what everybody else says. Follow. I don't even know what the bell icon is, but do it.
I don't know either.
Yeah, but do all the things. Do all the things.
Do all the things.
All the things
that we don't know.
Yeah. All right. So now we are going to get into. We're going to talk about AI. There we go. So
I had to take that one down because it's warm.
Unless you've been under a rock and don't go online and don't do anything, you've had to hear about AI, because it is all that's talked about online as far as photography goes, but not only with photography, for other industries as well.
Which was interesting to hear.
Yeah, I mean the writing thing, I've been seeing that a whole bunch, where they can write stuff for you. I don't know exactly how it works, but they can write, and I've heard somebody saying that people are getting sermons, papers,
news articles,
all that stuff is written by, not all of it is written by, but people are using AI to write those things, which is just crazy. And I mean, it should have been expected, because just the trajectory of technology, so.
Well, I feel like there's a few movies out there that explain why this is a bad idea. I, Robot and Terminator.
So give me your thoughts on AI in the photography space.
I have a lot of thoughts, because for me personally, as a wedding photographer, I'm not too concerned. I think it needs to be regulated for a lot of reasons for a lot of people. I think a lot of people right now that are in maybe like product or headshot photography, things like that where it can be generated with literally like a click, are hiding fear behind like humor and sarcasm by posting pictures of like, people holding like a fork or something, and then seeing the fingers are all jacked up, or there's an extra finger, and they're like, this will never take my job. And I was like, but the fact that whole photo was generated and just one mistake was made is kind of mind boggling.
Yeah. The technology is only going to grow, and it's growing faster. I mean, 2 years ago, nobody was even thinking about this.
Right. 6
months ago, people were starting to murmur about it, but now it's all the rave, and it's just what everyone's talking about. And it's you have to really pay attention to it, and so it's a real thing. And now, but just like anything else, there are good things with it. Some of the editing stuff is really cool, but like you said, for us as photographers, especially wedding photographers, I think that creating genuine moments is not going to go away. Like we're still going to have to create, like you said earlier, you can't AI a whole wedding.
Right. Like you really can. I mean, it doesn't have our heart.
It doesn't have our heart.
It doesn't have our heart. No, I think it's, sure, there's some benefits to it. I'm sure. It's just not something that I've given too much thought about with with our career, basically.
Yeah.
If you can generate an entire background if you wanted to, if the bride and groom are like, I want to be married under a waterfall or whatever, or have a waterfall in the background.
Yeah.
Okay, sure, fine, whatever.
Yeah.
That's what you want. I'm just going to
that's not real.
That's not real, girl.
You weren't there.
Because we're in the business of capturing authenticity and whatever, and preset or certain style of editing is one thing, but absolutely generating an entire background to make it seem like you were somewhere you weren't is something totally different. And I don't think that that's what people are wanting for their weddings.
Yeah.
I think this is going to kind of shift more towards a corporate end when they're just like, oh, I need pictures of my food on, that I'm a baker and I want pictures of my food on 40 different styles of backdrop or something,
Yeah.
or flat layer, whatever. Surface. I think that's where this might lead to be beneficial, but how's it going to be regulated? Who's regulating this? And
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people making a lot of money on it, generating, images, because they're not photos. They're
images.
They're generating images that are then turned around and being sold, whether it be on, stock photo sites and different places like that. So, there's that. So what do you think about, because there are also people who are, building portfolios based on AI, not even taking any photos. Like, hey, I'm a wedding photographer. Here are some of my images. And
right. How are you smart enough to see the difference, right? Like how is a client going to be able to tell the difference? And how are you as a human going to be able to, not to say live with yourself by selling that, but you're going to be giving a client an entire gallery of bullshit, basically.
Well, where I'm thinking about it is like, say, photographer Joe Blow, for lack of a better term, creates this portfolio of pictures of brides and grooms and wedding parties, and because it's really simple.
Right.
To
get hired?
Just to get hired. And now they book 40 weddings in a year and they make all this money, but then they can't produce.
Then let them bury themselves.
Yeah, it's just crazy.
It's unfortunate for our couples. This is why it's important for couples to ask for galleries, full galleries.
Yeah.
Because, if you're going to ask for, you want to see somebody's, okay, so when we post like sneak peeks or whatever, or, you see somebody's like Facebook or Instagram page or whatever, and you're only seeing the best of what you took that day, right? That's essentially like a sneak peek, I post sure what I consider the best of what I took that day or what the bride and groom asked for. Like if they're just, if they're that fun of a group, I'm going to post a ton of fun reception photos or something like that, and they may not even be the best of what I took that day. It's just going to be the essence of that storytelling that I did that day. You're going to be able to tell the difference between somebody who posts one photo, and this is why I like the idea of the Instagram like carousels, the 10 photos instead of one photo. You're going to be able to see the difference between somebody who posts one picture every few weeks to somebody who posts like I do constantly.
Yeah.
And I'll post all 10 photos, maybe even 2 posts of 10 photos, because I just can't decide. You're going to be able to tell the difference if you're really looking. Always ask for complete portfolios or maybe like a specific venue. If you're like, oh, I'm getting married at Ashley Castle, and have you ever shot there? And you'll be like, yes. And then you can send them that entire gallery that you did, because nobody's going to take the time to do like 800 photos from AI at Ashley Castle. Nobody's going to do that. So
I don't think it's that easy either
I don't think so either.
To recreate locations and
it's
like
not.
that.
Not yet anyway.
Yeah, not yet.
But I think now it's easy to tell if you know what you're looking for. So if if you're listening and you are a potential bride and groom, ask for an entire gallery. This also helps weed out people who have maybe just done a styled shoot. And then they advertise as, I'm a wedding photographer.
Yeah.
No, you just went to a styled shoot. There is a difference. So how do you know how to navigate a day? You don't. So, and that's, of course, not throwing anybody under the bus or anything or trying to devalue that work that they did, but it's a far difference.
There's nuances to doing a wedding that
Right.
are more than just taking pictures. Yeah, for
right,
sure.
right, and guided by somebody else. So
Yeah.
yeah, no, I think that's just got to be something that people look for. So look for those people who have, full Instagram, reels, and look under tagged photos too. I like to tag you guys in a lot of stuff
Yeah.
that, you guys have done and stuff. So, you'd be able to tell as well. Cause I know some people only follow like certain Instagram algorithms, however often they change too. And if they're like, oh, it's better if you only post one photo, it's better
Yeah.
if you post 10,
Yeah.
So, right now I think it's easy to catch, but it may not always be like that.
No, for sure.
With wedding photography, I think we're okay.
Yeah, I think we're
for a
okay as
while.
well. And, but all you photographers out there, whether you're wedding photographers or not, if you're looking at this, definitely take the time to look at some of the things that the AI can do and see how it might affect, what you do and might guide you to, something that you're already thinking you want to do or anything like that. Because it's definitely going to affect a lot of people's jobs. People are already losing jobs over it. So.
Oh, yeah, but for sure. And I think that kind of goes along lines with like the continued education and researching on your own and stuff too, kind of guiding you with what you want to do, especially if you're new in the industry and you're not really sure how all that plays into what you want to do.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Have you played with the new Photoshop update?
No, I have not, but I've watched some videos of people playing with it. And I played with a different one, and I'm drawing a blank to the name now. It's called M something, but you literally just type in what you want, and it makes it for you.
I think I've seen that too. I haven't played with it, but I've seen it.
It's pretty crazy.
It's it's pretty crazy how smart technology is, and it's
Well, the fact that you also just put in an explanation.
Right.
You put in like what you want. I want a picture of a bride walking through a field of flowers. You know what I mean?
with
Like,
the T-Rex chasing her in the background.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
It'll
you can
generate that
and
for you.
It'll like boom. It'll just make it happen, and it's just like wow, that's crazy.
That's just insane. It's really only a matter of time too before it gets even simpler than that. I mean, you think about how, easy it is, I guess, for even like our editing and calling systems and stuff to learn our way of editing and calling, and it's kind of only a matter of time before that kind of stuff also learns our way of shooting.
Yeah.
So I wonder if it learns our heart.
Yeah. No, I will never learn my heart.
Is your heart ever changing?
No,
Okay. Well,
I don't
then
think
it
so.
might learn your heart.
Yeah. We'll see.
Well, you're a goober.
All right. So, along the lines of kind of, CPA stuff, wrapping up wedding season, we were talking about, at lunch, mentorship and kind of our thoughts and feelings on that. And, so we thought it would be good to kind of talk about that.
Yeah.
And
Because I've had a couple, after the last podcast episode, I said I was done mentoring. And after that, I got a couple requests to mentor, which is crazy.
the universe works in mysterious
It really
ways.
does. And I talked to a couple people about it, and I would like to mentor again. I'd like to teach another Stephen. Fucking Stephen. Stephen, the Baconator.
The Baconator.
Oh my God. Oh, Stephen. See, we digress.
See, Stephen is he's a good person to mentor. He's a good mentoree. Is that what what's it called?
Mentoree? Yeah.
Mentoree. He's a good mentoree because he obviously loves it and is passionate about it and puts in the time too, which is kind of where we were at with the whole mentorship thing. Is that a lot of people want mentorship, but they don't want mentorship. They don't
want to. What I've noticed is a lot of people don't want to pay for it, which is I don't want to sound like it's about the money. I love helping people succeed, and I love helping people learn. I think in another life, I would have liked to be a teacher if it wasn't for kids. I like my kids.
Not the kids who are learning her kids. She's busy with her kids.
I like
that sounded so bad.
Oh no, I meant it as I said it. I like my kids and a handful of other kids.
Sorry.
I don't like other people's kids.
Disregard that. She doesn't want to teach her children.
I don't want to teach her children. I like teaching, and I find that I like I like providing education because I feel like I still have so much to learn. but I feel like there's only certain avenues where I can get that knowledge too, because there's, I've been doing this for so long now. And there's only certain avenues too that I want to learn more of.
Yeah, for sure.
And the people that I'm getting that are coming to me, not all of them, of course, but some of them, they'll be like, oh, I want to get into weddings. Like I had one recently that was another military spouse, and this is always a big one, and you'll get this with like PCS season, and I'm not trying to stereotype, but at the same time, I guess I am. You get them coming in through PCS season, which is the summer, and you'll all of a sudden see this sprout of new photographers. And it's always the military spouses that come in and they're, I'm a photographer. And it's like, all right, okay, cool. Because we all started, like all of the military spouses, we started that way. But only a handful of us actually get legit with this, in terms of actually making this as a real business and continuing with this. Because a lot of them fall off the grid within a year because they don't become successful, which is unfortunate. If you really want to do this, keep at it. Don't just fail and stop because you may have failed. Like don't just fall off the grid. Just follow direction, get a mentor. Yeah, that's the biggest piece of advice I can give you. So, you'll see a lot of them come in. I was a military spouse, this is how I started as well. But I learned, I did something about it. I got a mentor. This is what I did. And I became a legit business. So, a lot of them that's where I was. Sorry. Blah. OCD, ADHD, whatever I got. Anyway, she reached out and she was like, I think doing weddings will be great because, it'll be something to do because we're in the military and blah, blah, blah. And her reasons were not that good. And I was like, honey, I know what plane your husband flies. You move every year and a half, 2 years is not good for you. And I'm also thinking to myself, I'm like, and also you're not doing the work to make your work good enough. I didn't want to be like that. But then I also asked her, I said, what camera are you shooting with? And that's always one of the first questions that I ask people when they reach out to me for mentorship, is what kind of camera are you shooting with when they ask about weddings? Because that makes a difference. And you can fight me till your teeth bleed, but it makes a difference because
Absolutely.
I will hear people be like, it doesn't matter if I have a crop sensor and I don't need dual slide. You 100% need a full frame and you 100% need a dual slot camera because inevitably that card will fail at one of your events and you will lose that bride's entire gallery and then you are up Schitt's Creek. Okay? It's the rules of the world. What do they call it? Not karma, but y'all know what I'm talking about. Anyway, fight me till your teeth bleed. Okay? But there's a reason I only take on second shooters that have full frame and dual slot cameras. It's a safety blanket. Safety blanket. There you go. And there's a reason I have never lost a wedding. Okay? So it's one of the first questions that I'll ask. And if the usual answer, and there's nothing wrong with starting off like this because it was my very first DSLR camera, is a Canon Rebel. Okay? T2,
Canon.
whatever. I know.
No, it doesn't matter what camera you shoot with.
Yeah. And that's where a lot of us start. That's fine because you can produce some decent work on that. That's absolutely fine. But you need to upgrade for weddings, okay? And especially before I take you on to my weddings. That's not a high and mighty thing. That is definitely you didn't do your research beforehand. All right? I'm not going to mentor you from the ground up for weddings. I can do that if you want to start with family sessions and stuff. Absolutely. Yeah. That's true. Those are things that you can, absolutely redo. You cannot redo a wedding. 100%. So if you're going to take it seriously, you need to be serious about your equipment too. The equipment does not necessarily make or break your work, but for a wedding, it kind of does.
Makes a difference.
Makes a difference. It really does. The glass makes a difference. The bodies make a difference. All
glass,
that kind
bodies,
of stuff.
I think that, full frame and cropped is, that's, you can go either way because you could use a crop sensor and get away with it, but the body is really what matters and the lenses matter and, being able to shoot faster so that you can, capture moments matters. So those bodies that are they're just not capable of doing some of the stuff that you need to do. And not to sound harsh or anything, but there's levels to it. You know what I mean? There's levels to it. And so, you know, when you're mentoring, you know, you want to get people who are trying to aspire, you know, not only saying they're want to aspire to where you are, but you want to get people who are doing the things that it takes to get to that level as well, and have that kind of thought, not just like, hey, this is my first week of shooting, weddings seem cool.
Right.
I should try that.
Like, I want to make that kind of money, or I want to do this, or, you know, the kind of questions I want to answer at a wedding when I'm mentoring somebody is like, okay, so I see you've positioned them, you know, this bridal party of 10. I've seen you've chosen this kind of grouping or whatever. Can I ask why? You know, when there's a height difference of A, B, and C, like, those are the questions I want to ask.
Yeah.
I don't want to ask, well, why did you put your settings at 2.8 when you have a group of 10 instead of keeping them at 1.2? Like, those are not the kind of questions I want to ask. At this point, you should know your technical stuff. That's the kind of question that I want to ask when we have a one-on-one session with maybe one of your clients and I'm shadowing you, so that maybe I can help you understand a little bit better in the real moment, you know, because that's something that we can redo right then and there, and I can educate you on there. I mean, it like I said, it has nothing to do with, you know, like, well, I guess it does have something to do with your gear, but like, those aren't the kind of questions that we should be asking because of gear at that moment. Like, you should know the technical aspects when we're going into a wedding and mentoring. All right. You should know your gear. You should have the gear to keep up with it as well. You know, if I'm mentoring you at a wedding, I'm obviously not using your photos. It's because this is a lax timeline. My bride and groom have allowed this as well. I'm not just going to bring you in there just to, you know, have you. You know, they're a chill couple. They understand. They know that this is, you know, you're learning with me and everything, and we can do this. I also have a second shooter as well who's able to, you know, help me with the safe shots while we're learning. You know, but I want to be able to answer maybe the technical stuff when we're one-on-one, or maybe having a sit down even. Like, those are the kind of things. I'm not saying that I am above answering those questions at all. That's just the kind of stuff that I want to do to slow down. You want to get to weddings someday? Absolutely. We all started from zero. But you have to do that work. And you have to understand the kind of gear that you're going to need to get up there. I know when I was doing weddings, my very first wedding, my second body was a crop sensor. Yeah. Absolutely. There's nothing wrong with that. That's my backup. That's my B camera, you know?
But for me, as far as the crop sensor goes, you know, I think I'm older than you. I'm an old guy. I'm an old guy. So when I first started,
you got no hair,
and shooting Nikon, and when I first got no hair, just doesn't grow. When I first started shooting, Nikon didn't come out with a non-crop sensor for a lot of years. So I shot for 4 or 5 years.
And we're brand loyal,
and there was no crop sensor. So that I didn't know any better.
Right.
You know what I mean? I didn't know any better. I just, like, you know, the bodies were still good bodies, but they just weren't crop sensors because, you know, Nikon sometimes takes longer to, you know, to get on board with some things. But you know, once they get there, they dominate the space.
Did you do the update yet?
I did. I did the update.
I didn't yet. I know.
Oh my gosh.
I told you you're gonna have to remind me in like a month.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm just gonna take him to John. He'll clean them for me and he'll update them for me.
Yes.
He will do that.
He will. That's another good reason why you should go to Tucson Camera Repair. I mean, it's just the thing you should do. But yeah, there wasn't any.
Right.
There wasn't, for Nikon, there wasn't any full frame sensors, and so everything was cropped. And I remember when it came out with full frame, I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. This, you know, this 2470 is like so wide. And I was like, and so I had to figure all that out. But so you can still get good shots with a crop sensor. It's just, you know, you have to have the right lenses that work for them. Yeah, it's as far as mentorship goes, you just, you know, with all of the technology out there, like we were talking about this earlier, with YouTube and, you know, Instagram and Facebook, there are so many ways to, like, you know, learn the basic stuff. That, and if you can't take that time with those resources there to look at some YouTube channels and to learn some of the basic stuff, but you just want somebody to like hand feed you the stuff, you know, in a mentorship, it's not going to work. You're not ready yet.
It's not. And, you know, I'm not saying either too that you need to pay us for every bit of advice.
Yeah.
Because I can't tell you how many messages I get every week where it's like, hey, what lens did you use for this? Or maybe what were your settings on this? Which we've all asked those questions before. And I mean, I hate to say
no one's ever asked me that.
I hate
what lens
to say,
did you use for this?
I've asked Justin that before.
I'm not even that cool. I'm not even that good.
I've asked Justin that before. Like if I'm in a harsh light setting and I'm like, what settings should I use for this back in the day? And now I'm embarrassed that I've even asked those questions because now I'm like, oh my God, I was
now
so
the world knows.
effing stupid. I know. I seriously, I'm sorry. Like, tap people, don't make fun of me. But like I have asked that before because I was also so afraid of just getting it wrong. And when I reevaluated, and it was more actually Justin kind of helped me reevaluate because he was just like, you don't need my help. You know what
you got this.
He said that. You don't need my help. You know what you're doing. I think I was doing like an A10 Finney flight. Oops, I spilled. Oh my God. I remember my first whiskey. He's like, you don't need my help. You know what you're doing.
I don't want it to be in your face.
It can be in my face. You know what you're doing. Just go out there and have fun. And I took that advice and I was like, I feel stupid for even asking in the first place. And we see a lot of that in TAP. It's like, what settings would you use for this? And it is from a lot of people just starting out.
Yeah.
And I try not to be judgmental because I was there. I've done that before. And there is every level of starting. But I will be judgmental when it is people who are brand new and they're advertising to shoot weddings. Mm-hmm. Don't do that. And it's not, it's more, please think about the bride and groom because that's the only shot they're going to have to get those that day.
Yeah.
Please leave it to somebody else and mentor with that person. I cannot stress enough the value of mentorship. There are so many talented people that you can hire to mentor in the specialty that you want.
Or just ask them.
Or just ask. Yeah, because some people will just have you tag along. Some people, yes, will charge because, I mean, yeah, time is money. And when you get to that point too, you're going to be doing the same thing. The exact same thing. You know, Sandra with We Rock Photography is a great senior photographer. She does mentorships. Mm-hmm. Destiny, who's doing the minis, girl, I mean, man, Shay, she does family, maternity, all those. And she does that very bold, colorful.
Oh, yeah.
She's actually, I think she's an ambassador for like that bold color emotional Instagram group. And she's amazing. I mean, I had her do me and Emma's, my daughter Emma's mommy and me pictures. Oh my God. Loved them. She even got me in a 2-piece like outfit.
Oh, there you go.
Like you don't get me in 2 pieces for anything. And I mean, she did such a wonderful job. She even put up with my horses. Like
there you go.
They don't listen to anybody. Like, and she does such a good job. I mean, and she does mentorships. I mean, you can get so many people in the genre that you want for mentorships and it is worth the money. If this is what you truly, truly want to do in photography, invest. You have to invest like you would in your gear, invest in your education. Yeah. And the best way to do it is a mentor, face-to-face.
All right. So I'm going to ask you this. This is totally, so I want a story that, a newbie story that something that happened to you.
A newbie story?
Yeah, like a newbie story when you first started out, something that is kind of funny now and a little bit embarrassing, but at the time you really just didn't know. You were ignorant because you were just starting. I'll go first.
Yeah, you're going to have to because I'm going to have to think something.
So I remember shooting. I was just getting started shooting, and I was shooting some kids doing karate. And there was this girl. She was super flexible, and she was a little kid, and she did the splits. And I got this really cool picture of her doing the splits. And so I was super excited, and I edited the picture, and I take it down to get it printed, and then it gets printed, and they call me and say, "Come pick your photo," and I come pick it up, and her feet were cut off at the ankles. Her feet were cut off at the ankles, and I'm like, oh my God, like you guys messed this up. Like this is not how the photo was taken. Like this is wrong. And so they looked at me and they're like, okay, let's pull up the image. They were super cool about it. It was shout out to Jones Photo because they're no longer around, but they were super, super helpful and super instrumental in like me getting started. So And so they were like, hey, so when you're shooting, there's this thing called aspect ratios. So, digital photos crop in this. And so, if you're shooting for 35 millimeter, then, it's going to crop in on the sides and blah, blah, blah. So that's why it was thing. So when you shoot, make sure you shoot with some extra space on the sides. And so I was like, oh, okay. But there was no YouTube and no Instagram and all that stuff back then. So I had no way of knowing other than learning by trial and error. Yeah. So I always think that's funny, and I always
that's a good one.
Revert back to that because I'm like, I had no idea. I remember just being heartbroken that I took this super cool photo, and then Did
you see those really cool ones that Josh just took from the gymnastics one?
Yes, I did.
Those were awesome. Did you see his behind the scenes of her flipping around the bar, like almost kicking him in the face?
Oh no, I didn't see that.
They were good. I think he posted them on Tap or something. They're really good.
Yeah, he's got his Z8 now. He's rocking the Z8.
He's so excited. Oh, that's what else we were going to talk about too. Was the Z8s
That was the topic.
I'm totally trying to ignore the embarrassing first stories.
No, I'm here for it.
No.
Don't act shy now.
My very first wedding. Mm-hmm. But this is when I was actually really good at like white balance and stuff.
Okay.
Nobody knows this. Now the world is going to know this. On one of my cameras, I shot the entire thing in JPEG.
Oh. The world, Craig. The world knows. So how did that work out for you?
Great. It was fine.
Your white balance was
fine.
good.
My white balance was good. I was on it all day. All day. I was too focused on my white balance. Too focused on it.
All right. Well, now you guys get two stories.
But now after that, I don't focus on it as closely, which is fine because post-processing, I'm like, it's fine. It's in RAW.
It's RAW. So I was, this is funny because you make fun of me about this all the time. So this is kind of classic Shay.
I think I know.
In a way. So when I first started shooting, I shot on JPEG because I didn't know any better. I didn't have Photoshop and all that stuff. So I shot JPEG, and I don't even know if RAW was even around when I first started, which is
it not always been a thing? I mean, I don't even know if that was.
I don't know, but it became a thing, and it was kind of like everyone was talking about it, and it was like, oh, shoot RAW, and so I always shot JPEG, and so I just continued to shoot JPEG for years and years, and so finally I second shot for somebody, and they were like, hey, I need your RAW files. I'm like, I don't shoot RAW. And they were like, you shot this all in JPEG?
Fired.
Yeah. And so, that's what, and then I shot JPEG. So I went out, and I remember I took my daughter out, and I took some photos of her in RAW, and I look at them like, these look horrible. These look horrible. Like, my JPEGs look so much better than this. And then I had learned the whole process of editing and flat and So, I was a JPEG shooter for a long, long time. I mean, a long time.
Were you afraid of RAW at first? Or is that like because I think subconsciously I felt afraid of RAW, and I don't know why. I still remember that feeling, and I don't know why.
I was always taught, like, I had mentors, when I first started. Mm-hmm. And I was always taught, and there wasn't, like I said, there wasn't RAW. I'm pretty sure there wasn't RAW when I first started, or there definitely wasn't Lightroom, and there was Photoshop, but, I think, as far as RAW goes, it really didn't really, like, for me and in the circles that I run in, it felt like it didn't really take off until Lightroom came around, because then you had the batch editing and all that stuff. So it was a little bit easier to work with RAW, and RAW was hard because it was, one at a time you're editing, which, for wedding photographers, that's a lot of editing if you don't have the ability to batch process some stuff, not everything, but
it's easier now.
Yeah.
So much easier now.
So I was always taught, like you were saying, like, get white balance right in camera, get everything right in camera, close as you can, and then, move on, that's, and I still shoot like that for the most part, I mean, there's times when I'm lazy and I'm like, that's going to have to do because I got to go. You know what I mean? Like,
I made your job easier though, by telling you didn't have to get the white balance like totally correct.
I know you're
my image and profile. I was like, it's fine. It reads it like I have it. So just get it like I have it, and you're fine.
I know you're like, oh, just shoot everything on auto, and I'm like,
it's so much easier for me now. I know, which is like a little trade secret if you're building that profile for me. So, which, you know, sometimes I will, if I'm shooting in certain instances. So like, okay, when we're doing like desert type weddings, so like star dance and stuff like that, like I'm like, dude, do auto because my profile reads the auto there so much easier. But like when I'm on Mount Lemon and it's all that green, I got to do my white balance right. I know that some people are probably listening like, oh, what a fucking noob or something, you know, but like it's what works for me. Like if you're using that software, you know, Imogen is what I use for my editing, and it's not like a cheat where it is, it edits everything for her. You know, it's you build your profile and you, it learns your editing style, and it basically just mass edits for you, but you still go back and you make your tweaks. So basically just, you know, paste all of your, it's not perfect, but it is pretty dang close to getting it good. So I'm able to get full galleries out to my brides and grooms within a week rather than my 6 to 8 week turnaround, you know, which is usually what I tell them. So they get the, you know, I had a couple that I just shot, a week and a half ago. They're still on their honeymoon, and I was able to get them their gallery before they even got back. Like it's an amazing process.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And truth be told, I used your code.
Finally.
I used your code, and I've done it. I haven't done a wedding, but I've done wedding images. I've kind of played around with wedding images, but I have returned galleries to clients from engagement shoots and family shoots. Oh, it's so from nice, it, and it is so awesome.
And it tracks how much you do. Yeah. It can tell you how much time you've saved on your life.
Yeah,
like,
it's really,
you get
it's
it back
pretty
into
cool.
your family.
Yeah.
Like I've done 49,000 images so far through there because I was able to send it back for fine tuning the other day. I still haven't gotten to test it out on the gallery yet. I have a shoot tomorrow night, so I'll be able to get that session back to them on Saturday or Sunday. I mean, it's unbelievable.
That part
it gives it back to your client. It's such a good system for your clients, for you, and it's like I said, you're going back, you're still doing tweaks, and every situation is different, you know. And of course, it depends on time of year, what, you know, type of setting you're in and things like that. It's got to read that and learn that. But for the most part, it's got my desert stuff down.
Nice.
But
well,
it's
you live in Tucson,
you know,
so that's good.
I mean, it does. But when I go to Mount Lemon,
no point
though,
in having your snow stuff down because you don't shoot in the snow.
True. But when you go to Mount Lemon, though, and it's all green, you do have to adjust your white balance. So I mean, it's the little things that make your job easier. It is
pretty cool. So. I look forward to playing with it more. I just, you know, kind of what I was talking about, the whole taking forever to change into RAW and making that jump. You know, that's the old school in me. Like you told me the other day, we were like, just send me a text.
Oh my God, because you are the king of calling. But it's not even just that. You call at the worst times. And you are also the king of, this could have been handled in an email.
No, I don't mind text messaging, but if I want to, sometimes I just like to have a conversation.
You are, but you always call during lunch or dinner.
Yeah, man,
always.
But, you know, I'm the one's perfect.
But we love you.
It's my superpower.
It is. So you'll be calling when we're at lunch or something, and Brandon goes, "Is that Shay?" I'm like, "Do you have to ask?" I don't even have to look at my phone or my watch. I know it's you.
It's me.
But no, it's the little things that just make our life simpler that just help, and it's beneficial for us and our clients. Like Steven tried it, and Steven didn't believe that it was going to be as good as it was, and which is funny because I mean I didn't either. I never thought it was going to be that good. I think I used like Tim's code. I think in the beginning, I don't even remember.
I haven't even created my profile yet. I just use other profiles that I like.
Well, you guys are lucky. You get like 3,000 photos or something to create your profile. I think I had to do it when it was 7,000, and I am one of those ones that as soon as my galleries are done, I send them off when my clients approve them. I remove them from Lightroom, so I didn't even have like a catalog. I'm one of those people. So I had to create from the ground up. And so it was bad. But Steven tried it out. He didn't believe me that it was going to be that good. And then he messaged me a couple hours later when he got his profile back. He goes, "Kristin, how in the hell did this match my shit almost perfectly?" And I was like, you know, none of y'all ever believe me on things. So I am really tired of like being truthful and telling you guys stuff. Like I'm just going to start lying to all of you on everything.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
But he did. He's like, it was almost perfect. Like I just had to adjust like white balance just a little bit. And I was like, but as you go, it's going to
keep reading and getting better.
And it's just going to keep getting better and better and better. And it's going to learn situational things. It's going to learn time of day. It's going to learn so much.
Wow.
And that's Imogen. And with Aftershoot, the culling works the same way. So again, this goes back to AI. It all just learns. It's smart. This is the AI I like.
Imogen they have Colin's in beta.
Too.
Is it still a beta?
I think it's still a beta. I haven't tested it because I really just like after shoot. It's just what I know. I don't mind paying for 2 different services. I like that I'm providing,
Imogen, if you, for some odd reason, if you guys are watching our random podcast, she's wanting to be won over.
Holdfast still doesn't sponsor me, and I use all their stuff. So.
They send me text messages every 5 minutes.
I get text messages from them all the time, but I'm still waiting for them to come out with a harness that has like a flat back piece like you have, so that I can get my
your logo.
My logo.
Yeah.
Like you can get your logo put on the straps, but it's not big enough. Like I want it on my back. Like
red.
Does he have one like that?
Yeah,
Christy Harris has one like that.
Yeah,
I'm like, I love that
little thing on there.
Yeah, I want one like that so bad, but like I just love the Holdfast one, and I'm afraid to go elsewhere. So Holdfast. Come out with that.
Get it together fast.
I love all their stuff. But yeah, you know that.
Yeah. We've said that so many times.
We have said that so many times. Where's our sponsorship? Nikon, where's our sponsorship?
Really quick before we wrap it up, we probably should just give some first impressions, and maybe we'll be able to throw some images on top of this for the YouTube.
Z8.
Yeah.
So,
oh, look at her. Get in it. Go.
So we're
filming this on a Z8, by the way.
We are Z9 shooters. We have Z9s. We had absolutely no reason to buy the Z8 other than it was new.
Hope Katie's not listening to this.
Brandon's listening too. So, anyway, Katie, Brandon.
It's for the podcast. It's for
Brandon and
content.
Katie need to start a self-help group amongst the two of them.
I'm the worst.
To just bitch about us.
Yeah. I'm the worst, but John loves me.
You're the problem. I know. John loves us. John, do we get coupons?
We should get something.
Because you know what? We ordered him a lot of
Z8s. We did. Okay. So anyways, let's
probably get Anyway, we ordered the Z8s. We didn't need them, but you know what? I came up with the ingenious reason of why we needed them. They were going to be our travel cameras.
And
Steven
that was a great idea.
That was a great idea.
That was
Steven
genius.
Was pissed about, Steven mocked the shit out of us. Steven goes, "Oh, look at me. I'm Shay and Kristin. I just got Z8s to be a travel camera." Which was
hater.
We got the Z8s for travel cameras.
Yeah.
But then I also thought that we could use the Z8 for the team. For any time they're shooting with us. So since we have a ton of Canon shooters on our team, they probably don't want to use it. So it's basically Steven's camera.
Yeah, must be nice to be Steven.
Must be nice to be Steven. But Steven, I gave him the opportunity a week and a half ago to use it when we were shooting that wedding. But he had already had his whole setup already from having to go to King and Gardens to go shoot the guys over there before we went to the church. He's like, I'm already strapped in. But to be fair, it was a very hot day. We had to shoot a Catholic wedding. We also couldn't move from our spots. By this point, we were over it.
Yeah.
I used mine at an engagement shoot.
Yes. And I purposely didn't bug you about it because I wanted to talk about it here.
So I will say this, and I think it's just because I'm spoiled by the Z9.
Okay.
I was underwhelmed. Unfortunately. Now, Tim said it was user error. Which it probably was.
I've used mine a whole lot, so I can tell you what is.
So I found the auto tracking kind of lacking. Compared to the Z9, though. So my field of comparison is to the Z9, which, in my opinion, I just don't think that there's a comparison anymore. But everything else was pretty spot on. Usability, everything else was great. Colors, all of that was great. I did enjoy that. From going from one body to another, it was fine. But I did miss some shots that I normally would not have missed.
Now that's important, though.
Which is important. Yeah. But again, I do see where Tim says, okay, that's user error. Now, this being Tim, being a smartass. But sure. However, I did not do anything different than I normally would do with the Z9. So that's where I'm kind of like, okay, now I have only used it the one time. But it was enough to make me go,
yeah.
So what are your thoughts?
So my thoughts, I have used it a ton. Not quickly, just so that what a ton means is that I've done it on. I've used it for video. I've used it for headshots, for corporate headshots. I've used it to take pictures of my kids. I've used it to shoot weddings, shoot brides and grooms. I've used it on a bunch of engagement shoots. So I have like used it a ton.
Right.
And so my thoughts are, it's not a Z9, first of all.
Right.
That I'm not, and then everything else is just like little quirks. I feel like my Z9 white balance and the way that I shoot can sometimes feel a little bit more magenta than I want. Mm-hmm. And I feel like the Z8 is oddly opposite. It's a little green.
It is. It's a little green.
It's a little green.
That too.
So that was the first of all. That was the first thing, and I'd rather for it to be a little more magenta than green. Mm-hmm. But both can be fixed easily, so it's not a big deal. The little sound when you hit the shutter button.
It sounds mechanical. It sounds so...
And it feels like it's right in my ear.
It does, yeah.
And so it's, because it's not placed on the same part of the body, it's a little thing. I know I'm being bougie and picky, but it's...
Because we're spoiled.
It drives me crazy. Like, it drives me crazy. Other than that, just a little... having the side grip is, being, that. But other than that, I think it's... I really do feel like, but on the flip side, I really do feel like it's easier because it's smaller. It's easier for me to grab that. Like if my daughter's like being super cute, like doing something, it's so quick and easy for me to just grab that and go boom. Not that it shouldn't be. I think it's a mental thing because it is smaller.
Right.
It feels so much lighter than the Z9. It feels like a toy in your hand.
It is a lot.
It feels like a toy.
It almost feels like you. Well, no, I think you're hitting the nail on the head there because. The Z9 is heavy.
It's a tank.
It doesn't matter what lens you put on it.
Yeah.
And then when we put those 1.2s, no matter if it's the 50 or the 85, that thing's like, how much would you put that at? Like 8 pounds?
Yeah, something like that.
It is heavy.
Now, and then on that side of things, I have very rarely used my Z8 with my 1.2s.
Oh, what do you use it?
Because I still have my 50-1.8 and my 85-1.8. And so because it was a travel camera, that was I was like, I'll keep those smaller lenses in there. And so I have a bag that can fit my 50, 85, and the Z8.
Interesting.
So it is quick and just like grab it and go. But so I haven't used it a ton with I've done it a little bit, but not a ton. So it is way lighter and just like it is. It feels quick. I can grab it really quick and get to shooting really fast. So I do like that. And to take it with me, being in Arizona. You don't really want to leave your cameras in the car, even if it's not even about being safe sometimes. It's just about, the heat.
The heat.
And so I don't like to leave my cameras in the car. So having that little bag, I feel comfortable just throwing that over my shoulder. And it doesn't matter where I'm going. It's not heavy. It's not like I can carry that and it won't be a burden to me. But I do have a camera with me in case I need it for whatever reason.
I will say this. I ordered. I go through bags a lot because I feel like I have not found my the one I just love. I think the closest has been.
Katie, did you hear that? See, it's a real thing. It's a real problem.
Katie, it is a real problem. I am sorry, but it is.
She gives me so much heck. Bags come to the house and she's like, why'd you get this bag? You have a ton of bags. She laughs, but she's serious.
It's serious, Katie. It really is a thing. I've gone through House of Flynn because I was like, I want something stylish too, and girly, but also durable. And they're great bags, but House of Flynn is more style, I think.
Yeah.
Then I love Think Tank, but Think Tank's also more durable. It's also more, it's more accessible.
Heavier,
it's heavy. Those are the travel bags I want, and I will forever keep those. I love my suitcase bag. The one that you gave me, that is forever my wedding bag. Love it. I actually kind of want to upgrade to the bigger size, so I only carry one bag.
One bag, yeah.
I don't need to have my backpack and my rolly bag. But then I also just I came across this company. I think it was like somebody posted a giveaway or something, and I was like, well, let me look into this because it actually looks like a really cool bag, and it's like a wax linen kind of material, so it cleans easy and stuff like that. And it's called Togloot, and it's from
Togloot.
Yeah, and it's kind of catered and directed and advertised more towards women. In fact, like the logos.
I bought bags that are geared towards women.
The logo's very feminine.
And I have no problem
with
them.
You might like it. I'll show you these bags. So I bought the over-the-shoulder bag and the crossbody bag. And they just arrived a couple days ago. They're from Australia. And I bought the backpack as well. They're small. Like, you can tell they are definitely meant for a one-day shoot, like a engagement shoot, family shoot, something like that. So my Z9s do not fit in them. Except it does fit in the backpack if I only carry one lens and one body at the bottom part. You could fit another lens or body at the top, but it's just not very well designed to fit multiple things. So it's really
Big
only
things.
So I took that one up to Mount Lemmon when I did my engagement shoot, and it was fine for that purpose. Definitely fine if you're doing like a hiking kind of thing.
Yeah.
But then I used the over the shoulder and the crossbody bag for my downtown shoot. It was perfect, and that's when I took my Z8. That fits perfectly in there. You cannot fit a Z9 in there.
Yeah.
With another lens, with a big lens anyway. With a smaller lens, like the 1.8 or something, totally fine. Like the soup can lens. You cannot fit a bigger lens in there with the Z9. So that is where the Z8 would come in handy, and that's when I did that engagement shoot, and it was fine. But I pre-ordered a while ago their fanny pack that they have. Okay. And that's what I want to start using at weddings, because as much as I love my quiver, I love my quiver, but I wish the straps were more adjustable, because when I lift my arms to shoot, I have to do this weird rolly arm thing to get it high enough.
Mm-hmm. And then I put mine higher, and it still kind of feels like it's like a bib.
Right. Well, then, if I put mine up here, it's like on my boobs. Then I'm like, all right, people are just going to be looking at me, and I don't want that. So no,
I love my quiver, but, I use it when I have to instead of using it every day.
You could put the crossbody strap on there, and that might be more practical.
Yeah. So really quick, last thing I'll say, we're going to wrap this up in just a second, but last thing I'll say about the Z8 and using it, I did also use it on the gimbal, and I feel like that is going to be... I'm excited about that, using it on the gimbal for video, because it is so much lighter, but you still have all the functionality on the video side as the Z9.
So did they do any kind of spec changes for video?
No.
It's just going to be lighter then?
Yeah, it's just lighter for video. So on the gimbal, it's just so much more comfortable, especially if you're doing a full day shoot. So that was exciting, and that's fun.
SD card. So how does that work then with the SD card and the CF Express B card with video?
With video, you choose where you want it to go.
Okay.
And so with photos, it works the same. Backup. You back whichever one you want to be your main card, and whichever.
Which was interesting, because the CF Express B card is like kind of the primary slot.
Yeah,
which
it's
is
the
usually
A slot.
Opposite.
Yeah, but and I mean that's another thing that's really nice, to be able to have a
right.
Have the flash card, the SD card. Having that SD card is nice in there too. But I mean, at this point, we have so many CF Express cards. It doesn't matter.
I got those Angel Bird cards.
You like them?
Finally. So I haven't used them yet, but I've used yours, which are fine. In fact, I think I tried to steal some of yours for the longest time without you noticing, and then you were like, "Oh, those are my cards," and I was like, "Oh yeah,
give my stuff back."
So when I
borrowed it back.
Here's your cards again.
Borrow that card from me.
But they're getting cheaper, which is nice.
Yeah.
I ordered them off Adorama, since I had that Amazon fiasco when they sent me those 2 blank packets. Thank you.
It's crazy.
But the Z8, when I say underwhelming, it's just in comparison.
Because it's not going to do anything better.
I can't love a camera enough.
Yeah.
Z9.
The Z9 is...
If I could order another... If I had a reason to order a third Z9, I would.
Don't do it.
I don't, because I don't have a reason to. I have 2 hands. I have 2 strappies.
2 hands, 2 cameras.
If I had a third arm, fine.
No,
but
it's but I'm glad we got it, because it's going to be handy for travel, and with the those smaller lenses, it makes a difference.
When I do that wedding in Ireland, I'm going to take one Z9 and the Z8.
Okay.
I'm going to keep one Z9 at home, just insurance purposes. I'm going to keep one home just in case. I'm going to have the carry on with my lenses and my bodies, but you just never know.
Never know.
So, we have had a wonderful time.
Yes, this has been our most random. This is how we're so excited to be back in the studio shooting.
Our new studio.
The new studio. And so it's just been so exciting to this is how we are when you guys got a really good, us just chit-chatting, friends, just talking.
If you really could get it, you'd see our spouses in the background rolling their eyes like, oh my God.
Yeah, but this has been great. It's been all over the place, and that's just kind of how our lives are anyways. So that's really fitting for this episode. So thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate you. And until the next time. Now we have a studio. It's going to be more often. We're going to shoot more frequently. Yes. So So I think
next time we're going to have a guest speaker in.
Yes.
I'm hoping we can get Tim in here to talk about his class that he's got coming up.
That's coming up. Yeah, we definitely
got to get him in.
Which means we're holding
it to you, Tim.
Tim, you got to do it. We're all excited.
Timothy Irish, people. He is amazing.
Awesome. Master Yoda.
Master Yoda.
Master Yoda.
All right, guys.
All right.
We will see you next time. This is Kristin.
And I'm Shay, a.k.a. Shay the Shooter.
Signing off.
Peace.